the hole of the needle must reach up to this part, here. Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to adjust a sewing machine needle bar height. Remember that for perfect stitching and be properly regulated and well adjusted depends on two timings, which are the needle bar timing, the needle's path, and the shuttle timing. At this moment, we are going to sew, and if your machine is showing the same problem that we are about to see, it means you need to adjust the needle bar timing to sew properly. If this timing is misaligned, as we will see next, you must adjust it no matter what. The timing, the height of the needle bar, so that the machine sews well. We are going to see at this moment the issue that the machine presents when sewing, when the needle bar timing is totally misadjusted. We raise the presser foot, and next I will show you what happens when the sewing machine is misadjusted in the needle bar height timing. Here we see what it shows us skipped stitches, which are the normal stitches, the small ones and the long ones. We call those basting or skipped stitches, and it happens in this case of adjustment or misadjustment. The needle bar is a very simple adjustment that I will teach you next, which is very easy, so that in case it's happening, you know how to adjust your machine. Well, let's keep the following in mind. We are going to tilt our machine and remove the parts. We are going to remove the bobbin case, the bobbin, and everything else to follow the steps below. We are going to remove the bobbin holder with your bobbin. Let's go to the opener. We are going to remove this piece, the hook holder, and we are going to take out the hook, and we will take the following as a reference. The correct height of the needle bar should always be measured when the needle is up, and it gives us between the tip of the needle to the front plate between 13.5 millimeters to 14. But with what I'm going to teach you next, you don't need any measurement. It's enough to just apply what I'm going to teach you, which is a fixed point where that's the lowest part that the needle must reach. When it gets to that point in the machine, it absolutely has to sew by adjusting the needle bar. And the next part, when we have the needle at its lowest point, the correct timing is as follows. The needle hole must reach up to this part here that acts as a needle guard. It must reach this part. The hole should start from this part. This means to say that the timing, the needle bar is misaligned because the needle is too high, as the hole should be lower. Here we can see it is about 2 millimeters higher than normal. Also, if it is too low, it will also cause problems. It will skip stitches and the point will hit the needle. When sewing, the needle will break and cause us problems. Part 2, what should we do? Let's do the following. We must loosen the screw that holds the needle bar and lower the needle 2 millimeters so that it rests at this part, which is what we will do next with the needle at its lowest point without moving the hand wheel. This part, which is where the needle bars are covered, and we will always locate this part. There will always be a screw with a small bushing that holds the needle bar. In this case, we must use a number 2 Allen wrench. We take the screw and loosen it without moving the hand wheel, so the needle is always at the bottom. Then once it is loose, manually with your hands, we are going to lower the needle bar so that the hole is in this part. As you can see there, the hole now reaches this part and it should be aligned in this part. In other words, it means that the most protruding part of the feeder should start, just as we see it at this moment. Once we have it like this, without moving the wheel, we proceed to tighten the screw again. Also, without applying too much force, because it could damage the thread of the screw. Now we are going to turn the wheel and make the needle bar go up and down several times. And when we bring it again to the lowest point, we see that it will always stay there. It will not go past that point. That's exactly how all sewing machines with vertical shuttle should be, when the needle timing is correct. Now let's put the pieces back together and test it again by sewing to make sure the adjustment was done properly. Again, we insert the bobbin case, and now we're going to thread and we're going to sew and see how it's sewing for us. We cut the material and look again, and we are going to see the difference here. We see that the one below, this is the one we just did, and we see there are no skipped stitches, and we see that the top one does. Let's look at the difference, and we see that as long as the needle bar is properly adjusted at its correct height, the machine should not give us skipped stitches.